Okay, so now we are going to install the jQuery UI widget tabs. So here we are on my About page, and I've got some information. Like the other page, I have some header tags and I have some content under each of those header tags. So let's go over to the jQuery UI site, and we are going to navigate to tabs. And there they are. So, like the other page that we were just looking at, there is a view source link with a little eyeball icon, and we are going to click on that. So the first important thing that we need to grab is the script tag from the top. So we're going to bring that in to our About page. And if you'll remember, I'm using the static HTML site, so each of these HTML pages is going to need the jQuery UI CSS files and the jQuery UI JS files and the jQuery core library added to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add the script tag in here, but it's not going to do anything until I go add my other references. So I'm going to go back to my index.html page, and I'm going to copy these references from the jQuery style sheet down to the jQuery core and the jQuery UI libraries. I'm going to paste that in above my script. There we have it. And let's look at the content of my page. So I've got an H1 that says all about this course. I have my course description. I've got my course author, course section, the stuff that we just saw on the front end of the site. Let's go back to the jQuery UI website and see what kind of pattern that they have for this. Well, it's not as ideal as last time. Last time I lucked out because I was already using H3 tags and divs for the content of my page. Well, for this one, the pattern that's followed for the tabs uses unordered list and list items. So, in this pattern, we have our header tabs in an unordered list with list items, and each of those list items has an anchor tag with an href that's referencing a matching div tag below it. So let's look real quick. We have an unordered list with, and I'm not going to try to say that out loud, with these three text headers. You can see them right here. So in this case, the headers are separate from the content. The tab headers are up here in the unordered list, and the content is down here. Each of the tabs matches to the content based on what we define in the href. So in this case, we have tabs 1. You see the pound there for the ID. And this div down here with ID tabs equals 2. So pay attention. We have this header, this content. This header, this content. This header, matching on tabs 2. This div, tabs 2. This content. So we are going to apply that logic to our page. We are going to first take our headers and make them into an unordered list. So I'm going to keep my H1 tag that says all about this course, and I'm going to build my tabs underneath this. So let's add our unordered list and give it the ID of tabs. So just to make things easier, let's go back and count and see how many headers we had. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just pre-make some empty elements here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's going to be tabs 1. This one is going to be tabs 2. This one is going to be tabs 3. And this one is going to be tabs 4. So the first one is our course description. Notice I'm not cutting and pasting because I want to keep my content behind just in case I mess something up. Our second one is course author. So we have course description, course author, course section, and I'm going to be a little OCD and make that uppercase. And download the content. So there we have our header section. And let's see. I messed something up there. The ID doesn't go on the unordered list, it goes on the parent. So remember I said there needs to be a parent wrapper that we're applying the tabs widget to. So that's going to be tabs. We're going to wrap all of this in that and format it and take that ID off there because it doesn't belong there. So we have our parent element with the ID of tabs on it. We have our unordered list that defines our tabs, and each of those contains an anchor tab, and each of those contains an anchor tag. Oh, I got that one right. There we go. So each one of those contains an anchor tab with an href that matches up to a div that we're going to have underneath this with an ID that matches tabs 1, tabs 2, tabs 3, tabs 4. So let's go look at that example again in here. So we have the parent element of tabs, we have our unordered list that defines the actual tab headers. They have an li with an anchor tag with an href. So now nothing wraps these guys down here. They're just floating separately underneath the unordered lists. So we have div ID tabs 1, div ID tabs 2, div ID tabs 3. And just like the accordion, whatever you have underneath this div doesn't matter as long as it's well-formed HTML. So it doesn't have to be a paragraph tag. It can be another div with separate classes and IDs on it. You could have images in there. So let's go and bring in our content. I'm going to do the same thing that I did up there. I have 4 of them. So I'm going to stub that out. One, 2, 3, 4. So the first one is going to be tabs 1. Second one, tabs 2. Third one, tabs 3. Fourth one will be tabs 4. So now let's go get our content. I'm not going to worry about just pulling the inner content. I'm going to go ahead and grab the whole div because it's allowed. So I've got that. That's for my course description. The second tab is going to be course author. So let's go ahead and grab that. And good enough. So we've got our tabs 2. So tabs 1, tabs 2. Tabs 1 is our course description, tabs 2 is our course author. Now let's go get our course section. So we have tabs 3, open close tag. Make sure everything's closing inside of here. Now if you're reading it all, the text inside here, you can see that I lied about the ordering of my lectures. I hope you don't hold that against me. So I'm going to save that so I don't lose all of my precious work. So that's tabs 3. And then next we're going to add download the content for tabs 4. Let's go find that. And I'm going to just grab this div and I'm going to paste that in here. And good enough. So I'm going to blow out all this other stuff that I no longer need because I already copied it. And I'm just double checking my tags here to make sure they all match up. We've got the parent tab, the parent that's wrapping it, we've got an unordered list, and we have our matching tab div elements. Let's save that, and let's take a look. And there we have it. We've got our course description, we have our course author, we have course section, and we have download the content. So, like before, you might be thinking, well, maybe I want to name it something a little bit more descriptive. Like maybe I want to identify in my ID on my element something a little more than tabs-1. Well, this first one is my description. So as long as this guy matches with this guy, that's fine. Tabs description, tabs description. Tabs author. Tabs author. Tabs section. Tabs section. And tabs download. So I'm going to refresh the page, and as you can see, it worked. And just so you'll believe me that I refreshed the page, let's go take a look. You can see that we have our A element here, and its href is tabs description. And if we scroll down, you can see that we have our div element here with the ID of tabs description. The same thing is true with the parent element as we were looking at with the accordion, and that is you are not required to name this ID of the parent element tag surrounding all of your content tabs. You can name it whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to call it My Fancy Tabs. Let's go back to the page, refresh. And just so you'll believe me, let's inspect the element. And you can see My Fancy Tabs. And there you have it, jQuery UI Tabs Widget.